Dr. Lieberman, the latest Epstein document dump has cast former Duchess of York Sarah Ferguson and her ex-husband Andrew Mountbatten Windsor as grubby and selfish and as a pair who knew of Epstein's.
If you're wondering where Sarah Ferguson has gone and what she's planning next, here is what we know. The former Duchess of York has reportedly fled the country, first spending time in the French Alps and then heading to the United Arab Emirates. All of this comes after the latest release of US court documents connected to Jeffrey Epstein, which included emails from Fergie that have reignited scrutiny around her past associations. According to reports, she has been lying low, getting her head together, while quietly plotting what friends describe as a comeback to public life. And this time, it appears she intends to do it without Andrew.
Continue to grow their relationship with him. So much of the communication that we've read is after he was convicted on some really serious and ugly charges.
Yes.
Let's walk through this carefully, because there is a lot going on. At the end of last month, the US Department of Justice released a further 3 million pages of material linked to the Epstein investigation. That included 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. Within that release were emails involving both Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Sarah Ferguson. Andrew, who has consistently denied wrongdoing, was referenced multiple times in the broader document release. Thames Valley Police later confirmed they are assessing suggestions that he may have shared confidential reports from his time as the UK's trade envoy with Epstein. Buckingham Palace has said the King is profoundly concerned and would stand ready to support police if approached. But today, we are focusing on Fergie. Among the emails released were messages in which she referred to Epstein as a steadfast, generous and supreme friend. In one exchange, she allegedly called him a legend.
Epstein was a very mysterious man who obviously did a lot of bad things, but he had this magic, this ability to attract people who were very rich, people who were in high places, royalty, and how he kept them friends.
Another email showed her joking about marrying him. There were also references suggesting she remained in contact with him after his release from prison, and that she and her daughters had lunch with him 5 days after that release. Now, to be very clear, Sarah Ferguson has not been formally accused of any criminal wrongdoing. That distinction has been emphasised repeatedly by sources close to her. But the optics, particularly given the timing of these fresh document releases, have been deeply damaging. After all of this, she has seemingly vanished. According to the Daily Mail and other outlets, Fergie left the UK and spent several days in the French Alps with friends. After that, she travelled to the United Arab Emirates. Sources say she has been dividing her time between quiet reflection and serious conversations about her future. These are the latest reports received following initial reports that she was essentially smuggled out of Royal Lodge at night, with several precautions made so she would not be photographed. Sarah Ferguson is 66 years old. She no longer lives at Royal Lodge in Windsor, where she had continued residing with Andrew for years after their divorce. That arrangement, which she once famously described as making them the happiest divorced couple in the world, has effectively ended. Andrew has now relocated to the Sandringham estate in Norfolk. Fergie will not be joining him. For decades, Fergie publicly defended Andrew. She described him as a kind, good man and a fabulous father.
To be friends of his is by sort of keeping them in, having something on them. You know, he didn't want them to betray his trust, and so he would always get something on each of them. Now, I kind of feel bad for Andrew.
She stood by him through the fallout of his 2019 BBC Newsnight interview and the subsequent civil settlement in the United States. She carefully avoided commenting on specific allegations while maintaining her loyalty to him in broad terms. But according to friends quoted in recent reports, She has now said privately, "When I come back, I am going to have to put some distance between myself and Andrew." That's quite a shift. Instead of Norfolk, she reportedly wants to remain in the Windsor area. Sources say she is considering either buying or renting her own property there. The idea of Fergie living independently, without Andrew, and without the protective umbrella of a large royal residence, marks a real change in how she may be positioning herself. There is also the financial reality. Friends say she has been candid in private conversations, telling them, "I need to get back to work, I need money." That is not a throwaway remark. Emails released in the Epstein files show her repeatedly asking him for financial assistance in the past, including help paying off debts. In one message, she apologized to him for publicly distancing herself, reportedly saying she had done so to protect her career as a children's author. I posted a video a few days back about how, allegedly, Fergie owed her personal assistant over £100,000 and was asking to be bailed out of this debt by Epstein, as she could not afford to pay. This isn't painting a picture of someone financially sound or responsible. Over the years, Fergie has built an income through book deals, speaking engagements, and television appearances. She has written numerous children's books, including the Budgie the Little Helicopter series, and more recently, historical fiction.
On Fergie, emails between her and Epstein seem to show that she may have had a crush on him, or some have suggested she was in love with the disgraced financier and convicted pedophile, let's not forget. Alan Howe has written a great piece in today's Australian newspaper.
She has appeared on American television, including The Oprah Winfrey Show, and has worked as a brand ambassador and public speaker. But those opportunities rely on public goodwill, and right now, that goodwill has disappeared. One source was blunt, saying, "I don't know whether Sarah is just deluded or desperate. She is 66 and has no home and no discernible income. The public is disgusted by what they have read. And how would she pay a new PR team to rescue her reputation?" That brings us to the PR question. Rather than issuing a public apology or holding a press conference, reports suggest she has been quietly scouting for a new PR team. The intention, according to those familiar with the discussions, is to manage a structured return to the UK media landscape. This would likely involve carefully chosen interviews, possibly a sympathetic television appearance, and an attempt to refocus attention on her charitable work and writing. Fergie has always had a knack for reinvention. After the toe-sucking scandal in 1992 and the financial controversies that followed, she rebuilt her public profile through American media. After the 2010 News of the World sting operation, in which she was filmed offering access to Andrew for cash, she again resurfaced, apologised, and gradually returned to public engagements. Each time, she relied on charm, openness, and a certain self-deprecating humour. Whether that strategy would work now is another question entirely. I have serious doubts, and personally would hate to see such a thing come to light. While she has been abroad, her daughters have also found themselves in an uncomfortable spotlight. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie were mentioned in the document release because of references to them having lunch with Epstein shortly after his prison release. Neither of them has been accused of wrongdoing, but their names being drawn into the narrative has clearly distressed their mother. At Art Basel in Doha, where Eugenie was attending in her role as a director at the art gallery Hauser and Wirth, observers noted a supportive gesture from her friend, Caroline Dorr, who put an arm around her as they posed for photos.
And he says there were warning signs from very early on about Sarah Ferguson, reports of disturbing behaviour from her date right back to when she first joined the royal family in 1986. Carol, what do you say about that?
The image, later shared on Instagram, was widely interpreted as a show of solidarity. Sources say Sarah is deeply concerned about the impact on her daughters. There have also been claims that Beatrice and Eugenie's names have quietly been removed from certain red carpet and charity guest lists. While the king has reportedly continued inviting them to family events, the wider social and charitable circuit may be more cautious. Fergie has always seen her primary role as being a devoted mother, according to those close to her. Even after her divorce from Andrew in 1996, she remained close to her daughters and was frequently present at royal family gatherings. She walked Eugenie down the aisle at her 2018 wedding at St. George's Chapel alongside Andrew. She was front and centre at Beatrice's 2020 wedding to Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi. So if she believes her own actions have caused reputational damage to her daughters, that may influence how she handles her comeback. We could at least hope that would factor into her decision. But with her history, it's hard to say for certain. Another layer to all of this is housing. Being booted from Royal Lodge, as some tabloids have put it, was not a formal eviction in the dramatic sense, but the reality is that she no longer has that Windsor base. Royal Lodge, a sprawling 30-room mansion in Windsor Great Park, had been Andrew's long-term residence under a lease agreement with the Crown Estate. Andrew's move to Sandringham, specifically to Wood Farm on the Norfolk estate, has been widely reported. Wood Farm is a modest 5-bedroom property that the late Duke of Edinburgh used frequently after retiring from public life. It is a far cry from the scale and grandeur of Royal Lodge. Fergie, however, will not be joining him there. She is said to want her own place, still within reach of Windsor, which keeps her geographically close to her daughters and to the heart of royal life, but symbolically separate from Andrew. And that symbolism may be the key to her next chapter.
Well, yes, this is the newest thing that has come out of the Epstein files. I mean, there's so much that's coming out. There are thousands and thousands of pages. But yes, it has come out that on at least 2 occasions, she proposed to Jeffrey Epstein. And yes, it was after he was convicted the first time of moving girls. And so, obviously that didn't bother her very much.
For decades, she has been both inside and outside the royal fold. She lost her HRH status after divorce, but remained a regular presence. She attended major events, including the funeral of Prince Philip and the coronation of King Charles, though she did not attend the coronation ceremony itself at Westminster Abbey. She has walked a delicate line between royal insider and independent figure. Now, she may be trying to redraw that line entirely. Friends say she believes she can bounce back in typical Fergie style. That phrase has been repeated more than once. It suggests a return to the warmth and accessibility that once made her popular in the late 1980s, when she was photographed laughing with crowds and playing with children at public engagements. But this is a different era. The public mood is less forgiving. The scrutiny is sharper. Social media amplifies everything. Still, Fergie has surprised critics before. In recent years, she has also faced serious health challenges, including a breast cancer diagnosis in 2023, followed by treatment for melanoma. During that period, she spoke openly about early detection and urged women to attend screenings. Those messages were widely praised and brought a wave of sympathy. If she chooses to focus on health advocacy, children's literacy, and charitable work, that may form the backbone of her attempted return. For now, she remains abroad, reportedly splitting time between private residences in the UAE and brief visits connected to her daughter's work in the Gulf region. The exact details of her daily routine are unclear, but those close to her say she is reading press coverage closely and weighing her options carefully. The big question is timing. Does she return quietly, slipping back into Windsor life and testing the waters with small engagements? Or does she sit down for a major interview, perhaps with a trusted broadcaster, and address the emails directly? So far, there has been no formal statement from her about the contents of the document release. That silence may be strategic, or it may reflect uncertainty about the best path forward. What we do know is that she does not intend to fade away. At 66, without a permanent home and facing financial pressure, she appears determined to rebuild. She has done it before. Whether she can do it again, under this level of scrutiny, remains to be seen. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Sarah Ferguson can successfully return to public life on her own, separate from Andrew? Or has too much damage been done? Let me know in the comments, and if you follow royal news closely, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next update.